Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the place where we pull together ideas from the world's creatives to help level up your mind, your body, and your spiritirino, your spirit. Today, there's a lot going on for me at the moment, and I was wondering, do I keep doing these weekly videos and weekly letters and stuff? But I realized that the discipline and the consistency aspect of doing this is worth it in itself. So the skill to actually make sure that I show up every single week and put this out, I think, is a reason enough for me to continue this. I love this content, I love doing it too, but there's so much on that I'm like, is it worth my time at the moment? Yes, it is, because it's teaching me to show up every single day, every single week, and I think that skill is valuable enough to warrant continuation of the show. So without further ado, let's crack into this week's letter. Ego versus Shoshin, the beginner's mindset. Shoshin, which means the beginner's mind, refers to the openness, the disregarding your preconceived ideas and putting down all of the things you think you know when trying to learn a subject. Shoshin is the beginner's mind. And when it comes to the beginner's mind, in my experience, in my opinion, the more that we tend to learn, the more arrogant we can potentially get, which is going to be a barrier to learning, because as someone's talking to you, as someone's sharing their wisdom, their knowledge, their teachings with you, you're thinking that I already know like this subject. I don't really need to learn, bro. But that's going to hinder you and stop you from actually learning the information that you may not already have. And man, this is just so true for me in so many facets of my life, where I notice like I think that I know something and therefore I stop learning, or I stop receiving good information from other people, when that's just arrogance. And arrogance leads to the inability to learn because of the knowing of a subject. And what is the main belief of the whole beginner's mind concept? Well, the Japanese Zen priest Shunryu Suzuki has this to say about it. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are few. Really just soak that up. Soak that up. Soak it. Get it into your body and brain. Think about it though, it's so fucking true. Like, oh, it's so good. In the beginner's mind, there are an abundant amount of possibilities you don't know, and so you're open to the teachings and the coaching and all of that sort of stuff. But in an expert's mind, you could be given an absolute diamond of a piece of information, and you're like, I already know this subject, so I'm not going to listen to you, peasant. When in fact, that might be the single piece of information you need to grow, progress, transform whatever you're doing. And I feel like that spans out across all subjects and topics of life. The more that you're inclined to think that you know, I know I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but think about it, as it spans out to every area of your life. How many situations do we subconsciously, accidentally apply this to? I'm going to say fucking almost all of them, or a lot of them. I would argue that not adopting the beginner's mind, the beginner's mind is probably one of the biggest reasons to fail, because as we progress, we unlock something, and then once we unlock that thing, we're then blinded to see the other potentials that we unlocked, because our ego is attached to the new thing we unlocked, holding our like self-worth and our confidence. And I just unlocked this thing, so I'm not going to look over there for the other thing that I could potentially learn, because I just unlocked this thing, and I'm not going to deviate my attention over there because I've just unlocked this and I'm the man. But then you're missing all of these other opportunities. So adopting the beginner's mind again in every facet just seems to just be the way to learn. Just put your shit down, put your shit aside. You know heaps, that's fucking awesome, well done. But just put it down for now and learn. We're here to learn, we're here to do this. And whatever that might be, whenever you're, getting coaching, whenever you're in class, whenever you're having a conversation, put your preconceived ideas down, even though they hold value. Just to put it conceptually, if you're starting a business, you need a plan, you need branding, you need a product or an idea to sell. But if you just have a product or an idea and you don't have branding and you don't have a plan to get that out and scale into the world, then you're going to fall flat on your face and you're just going to have a big inventory of product and no way to distribute it. And you could argue that that's like everything else. But if you apply Shoshin, what does a successful business need? Oh, they need a plan. They need a plan of action. They need design and a good brand idea, a brand identity. And then they need product and inventory as well. And only then, with all of those elements, I'm sure I'm missing many out, don't get me wrong, but you've got to tie in all of the elements. But if you miss one, then that's going to hinder your business's growth. That is the same with our mind, our physical transformations, our learning, every area of life. If you're missing a key element, if you're missing one of the foundations of the house, then you're going to get decked later down the road. So, a further example of this, and this is a personal experience, when I was learning to do handstands, if you guys didn't know I can do handstands, wow, go me. I was learning on the parallettes. Long story short, I broke my wrist, had surgery there in 2020, and it was rough. I couldn't use my hands, I couldn't do push-ups, I couldn't do heaps of stuff, and so I started learning handstands on the parallettes, and the parallettes are just like a wooden bar that you hold, that you can do pushing stuff on, and it keeps your wrist neutral, so you're not like this. Anyway, I started learning handstands on those and noticed I was progressing, and boom, I unlocked handstands. But I wasn't ever doing handstands on my actual hands on the ground. So I could perform handstands on the parallettes, and then when it came to doing it freestanding on my hands, I couldn't do it. And because I couldn't do it, I leant on the parallettes more. I tended to do the exercise handstands on the parallettes more, which in turn led to me not being able to transfer the skill of handstands into other areas of practice. For example, in my yoga practice or my other training, I couldn't do the handstand because I needed the parallettes to be able to do it. My ego didn't want me trying it on my hands because I had to fail more to get the handstand. I can already do handstands on the parallel. I don't need to do it on my hands, man. Like, just let me do it on the parallettes. I can already do it. It feels good. It feels confident. But I had to adopt the Shoshin. I had to adopt the beginner's mind, regress back to my hands, learn handstands on my hands, and then sure enough, I caught up to my skill level on the parallettes, and now I can integrate handstands into all of my other training and practices. And that was only because I decided to regress back. And that's just one example, but how many times in real situations when we're learning, when someone above you and you're like, no, fuck this guy, he thinks he knows more than me, but they're just trying to help, or even if they are a dick, there is still something to learn there. How many situations are we in where there's always something to learn, but we're getting all barred up and egoed up so that we don't learn because we think we know? I think that happens a lot, and I can only speak for myself, but that fucking happens so much. And that's why I love talking about this, because I'm actively trying to learn Shoshin, the beginner's mind. How many cases in our life do we do this? Again, so many. For example, if someone has a sport and exercise science degree and they're a personal trainer, and then a different practitioner of a different movement practice comes in and tries to teach them something, they're qualified. They learned in a specific way. I've got all of these qualifications and I know what I'm talking about. So your movement that you're teaching me, I didn't actually learn with my degree, and so therefore I'm not going to apply it. I'm not going to learn it because you're wrong. I have a degree. Now, I'm not trying to bash degrees or anything like that, but it's just the idea of being so locked to your previous conception of an idea, your previous perception rather, that you don't learn because you think you know, when the reality is none of us know. We're all just learning and stacking and stacking and stacking, and yeah. And if you're too arrogant to realize that, hey, there might be some value in this, whatever this other person's saying, then that will cut off your growth potential and cut off your ability to learn new things because you think that you've got it all figured out. You can definitely assume a healthy balance of confidence, but that is very different to being arrogant. Confidence is, wow, there's all of these things that I've done. I've genuinely ticked the boxes. There it is in front of me. Awesome. I have a reason to be confident. I have tested their theory. And I know that they're wrong because I've personally tried it. I'm confident that it's wrong. But if I just disregard it, if I think my way is better, then that's just arrogance, which is delusional. Confidence is real. And we don't want to fall into an arrogant path. And we are all guilty of it. This isn't to say you're never going to do it. This is just to say learning confidence over arrogance is part of the journey for me. There's an American author, speaker, writer, pastor who's written many books. He's an author and a writer? No way. He's written many books. And he has this to say about it. There are two kinds of pride, both good and bad. Good pride represents our dignity and self-respect. Bad pride is the deadly sin of superiority that reeks of conceit and arrogance. John Calvin Maxwell. He's written some amazing books on leadership. Conceit is excessive pride in oneself. I didn't know that word before I read that quote, so that's why I'm saying it, because conceit is excessive pride in oneself. I'm just so fascinated by this idea and how blind even I am to it, which is why I'm so grateful to be learning about it, because there's so many things that I think that I know, and like things that I'm doing, and even stuff that I have confidence in, that if I just put down my ego, put down my pride, and just learn from this person in front of me, there's always something to learn. There is always something to learn. And I challenge you with every encounter, every situation that you're in, can you point out something to learn? Can you adopt the Shoshin mindset? Can you take on the beginner's mind and put your shit down? You don't need to know everything. If you don't like what they have to say, you can disagree. You can also go home and just deny what they have tried to teach you if you really disagree with it. But taking it on board, critically thinking about it, applying it, seeing if it works for you. Only then can we have the confidence to push forward in ourselves without being blinded and delusional by arrogance. I am guilty of this, and I have a feeling you might be too. We don't know everything. No one does. But there are things to learn from everyone else. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate your time. And if you like somebody, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm grateful that you're here with me, and I'm grateful to make this content. I'm grateful for the opportunities showing up in my life as of late. I'm grateful to be able to do a lot of the things I love, and I'm grateful to be on my path. What are you grateful for today? Grateful that it's Mother's Day. Thank you to all the mothers out there. If you're watching and you're a mother, I appreciate you. Thank you for nurturing all of us humans into the world and showing us love, unconditional love. You are appreciated. With that being said, guys, peace, swag, 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 swag.